Hello and welcome. I'm the Theory Detective. In these lessons, we'll uncover the mystery of music theory. Now, before we understand about music theory, we have to first understand a little bit about music, or about sound. Now, it's easy to think about it based on a string instrument. If you pluck a string, then it produces a sound by the string shaking at a particular speed. Now, if the string shakes very quickly or vibrates very quickly, then you will have a high sound. Whereas if the string vibrates very slowly, you will have a low sound. If a string is vibrating at twice the speed of another note, then that's what we call the same note, just higher. Now, if the first note we call A, then that other note that has the twice the speed would actually be another A. So we can see that across here. Now we have A1, and then higher we have A2. So if A1, the speed at which the string vibrates is 55, then the next note that's twice as fast as 55 would then be 110, and that's our A2. And the next A would have to be twice as fast as the previous one. So that would be 220. And then twice as fast as 220 would be 440. And twice as fast as 440 would be 880. So you see, each one gets twice as fast as the previous. 55 plus 55 would be 110. 110 plus 110 would be 220, and so on. You could also have a lower note that's the same as A, but let's call it A0, if you cut 55 in half. So that would be 22.5. So I'll put that down here, 22.5. So that would be a lower A, or A0. I actually have A2 here. If you listen to it, that's A2. And you can hear higher would be A3. And higher than that, A4. And even higher than that would be A5. So the higher the number at the top goes, the higher the note goes, or the note sounds. So now we have to standardize tuning, because originally every single different place had their own tuning. Italy would have one way of doing it, France another, the Holy Roman Empire another, and even within each area you might have different towns or even different schools of music and different orchestras might have their own separate tuning. So if you wrote a piece in France, thinking of one particular tuning, the one you had learned, and then people in the Holy Roman Empire went and played your piece, it wouldn't sound the same. It wouldn't be the same as what you were thinking it should sound like, the way it would sound to you if you played it, because they were using a different tuning. The same thing if you learned to play in Italy and you used one different tuning, and then you went to France, and say to Paris, and they use a different tuning, and then you wouldn't be able to play with them because your tuning would be different, and then all of the notes would sound garbled. They would sound, things that were supposed to be harmonious would then sound dissonant and sharp like this. So then they would have to standardize the tuning. Once the tuning was standardized, once everybody tuned their instruments on the same pitch, the same exact number, then a piece would sound the same from orchestra to orchestra, and somebody from one orchestra or one school of music could go to a different area and play with those people, and it would still sound beautiful and harmonious. And the note they decided to standardize to is what we call the tuning A, and that's this one right here. The tuning A, they standardized as 440, exactly what we have. And that's A4 right up here. Where was it? So if you play in an orchestra, the piano would actually be tuned by a professional tuner. And then the pianist would play the piano note, the tuning A, and the oboist would then play his A, and he would tune his instrument, his oboe, to match the piano. And then the head violinist, usually called the concert master or the concert mistress, would then tune their violin to match the oboe and the piano. And then all of the instruments, the rest of the orchestra, would tune as well. And everybody would be playing to the exact same A. So that wraps it up. Now we have the tuning A, the standard tuning, and we also understand how sound works, or how music works, as far as the speed at which the string vibrates. Now, if you have flashcards, go ahead and take one out and write on it, tuning A. And on the back, go ahead and put A4, 440. And as you're practicing your music theory, you look at one side and read it, and then try to think of what the answer is before you flip it over. So you'll actually make flashcards out of these. That's it for today. Have a great afternoon.